YouTube or anywhere else on how to do this job. So this should make it easier for people. If you're semi-mechanically inclined, this will be a lot easier. Here, this is that. See it? I mean, that is a lot of, you know, that's like restrictive as hell. What the hell? Got ants in my garage. But okay, cross skid plate needs to come off. Cross member needs to come off. Take your jack and put it at the rear section of your transmission there. Okay, jack it up till it makes contact with it. Then take your bolts out of your cage, the transmission cage or bracket, whatever you want to call it, you can call it. Then lower your trans down. That's going to give you a lot of room to see inside there. On my 2010 B8, the Y pipe bolts were 12 millimeter, and the same with the exhaust manifold bolts. Those were also 12 millimeter. I thought they would have put something bigger up there, but obviously they didn't. So, but alright, that's the bolt size and the things you have to take off. As you can see, my rack and pinion, I can't put my finger on it, it's dangling right there. It is. I tweak that down and off to the side a little bit just so I can get my big arms and hands in there to get to that top bolt. Make sure you're square on all your bolts when you're taking them off. That's going to reduce the risk of you snapping or shearing one off, as well as lubing them up pretty good. I took my exhaust off, well, obviously because I got to repair 2 studs, but get it off and out of the way so you're not banging your head. It's not hard. I took the brackets off and not those the rubber bushings. I went to the bracket, which are 13 millimeter for all of those, and then slid my exhaust out and out of the way so I didn't bang my head all day. But yeah, go ahead and get to some extensions, some swivels, a 12 millimeter short socket, and get up there and start working those exhaust manifold bolts off to get these cats out. As you can see, I cut the tail sections off of each cat with the little, I mean, you want something definitely that can go through that kind of metal, and at least, you know, that length to shear through those. There's plenty of room in there to find it. Cut it as close up to the base of the catalytic converter as you can when you're taking off those rear flanges. That'll allow you the most room in and out to pull and twist. Remove your 2 brackets, or there's 2 brackets, one on each side of your catalytic converter and bushing. Remove that. Remove the mount that's on the transmission for that bracket, which those are 13 millimeter as well. Pull that out of the way. Cut your rear section off as close as you can to your catalytic converter, and that should be it. You know, give her a little finagle. You could snake her straight out through the side, and you're good to go. The driver's side, you're gonna have to remove the tail section. It's the only way you're gonna be able to swing around that steering shaft. If you wanted to take it off, like I said, I could have taken it off. All you really got to do is mark it and, you know, put it back on. But like I said, I was trying to find the easiest way to do this for you guys. So so there. But if you're gonna try to save the cats, I'm telling you, I don't think it's worth it. If they're stock, they're probably not too far from being bad anyway. So chop them up and get them out of the way, and then go with a set of high flows. Like what I'm gonna wind up doing, my high flows are gonna be out in the open, out of the engine compartment, for number 1. Number 2, they're gonna be easier to replace out here than they are way up inside that engine compartment, cooking everything in sight. So go that option. And like I said, the more downstream you go with those catalytic converters, the less likely you're going to burn them up super fast. Like I said, they're not seeing that extreme heat. Just get yourself some extensions, make yourself some extensions. They're not hard to do for your O2 sensors. If you're not running a tune, or you don't feel like having those downstream O2s checked off your ECM so the light doesn't come on, I'm not sure what you can do for that. Bung them, some people do that, or just have them delete them. But like, that option would be up to you. Whatever is the easiest, cheapest, and makes more sense to you, that's on you. But all in all, like I said, I'm about the 4-hour mark, 3 days. I did a couple hours yesterday, did an hour the day before, and today at this point it's about an hour and a half. So both cats are out. That's including everything I talked about, lubing them up, removing everything. We're at the 4-hour mark, and at this point, if I had my downpipes fabbed up, they're in. You know what I'm saying? In about an hour, I would be installing my skid plates. So, like I said, the job's for maybe 6 hours in total, depending on your skill level. But this video should make it easier for you guys to, well, at least you know which way to go. It's not super difficult. It's annoying if you're working on the ground. If you're up in the air, this will be a lot easier. But you don't need to remove your motor. You don't have to touch your motor mounts. You really just removing that cradle right there and lowering your transmission. It allows you all the room in the world to pull those out. But I do suggest removing the rear sections of your catalytic converters. And as you can see, I went as far up as I could. This is the driver's side cat here. As far as I could. I cut these brackets as well because they stick out. And when you're trying to twist, you're trying to get as less amount of stuff out of the way as possible. And as you can see, the fronts are still on. Those weren't an issue. It's the rear section because they come up and then you do this wiggly, crazy. I mean, try it. Try lowering that transmission with everything on it to see if you can get them out. But understand, once you disconnect that flange from the manifold, you got nothing helping you hold these things in place if you have to cut them. So you could take the chance if you want. Obviously, I didn't take that chance. I just said, screw it. I'm not going to be using them. Well, here, once I got the driver's side off and saw that it was fried, to me, there was no point in saving either one of them, because if this one's fried, that one's going to be fried soon. So, but, alright guys, I hope this was helpful. Right now, I think this is the only one with the only video of an install or disassembly of this H-pipe. H-pipe, really? I'm removing the catalytic converters from my Audi B8. Like I said, we have two. Those newer cars only have one, and it's kind of, I think it's right there in the open and a lot easier. This job isn't super difficult. My skill level is probably at master, but anybody could do it. Just take your time, patience, use some of the advice that I gave you, and you'll be able to get these. You'll be able to get the cats out of there. Like I said, today's day number 3, the morning of day number 3. So, and I only did, like I said, day 1 was 1 hour, day 2 was about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and day 3, it literally took me 10 minutes to get that cat off and out of there. But I did cut the tail ends of each one of them off. O2 sensors, I can't give you any advice for those because it drove me crazy trying to get up and in there. But yeah, if you can get to those O2 sensors, to me, I think that was the hardest part for me, was the O2 sensors. I've got big hands and big frickin' forearms, and I can't fit into these tight spaces, so that was difficult for me. And then I didn't know where the clips were, couldn't see. Like I said, that was the hardest part. But that actually took me longer to get those O2 sensor clips, or for the driver's side or passenger side, than it did taking the catalytic converter out. So if that tells you anything, that's probably the biggest pain in the butt for me. But right now, like I said, where I am, cats are out. If I had the downpipes, right now I'm looking at an hour for those up and in and everything back together. So the finished work, maybe 2 hours in total in that. So like I said, this job is 4 to 6 hours. And I think that's with anybody. If you're decently mechanically inclined and you know the steps to take, it's going to be a lot faster for you guys. So for me, it was, you know, I'm chopping my way through the forest more or less. So now the path is there. All right, guys, good luck. If you have any questions, hit me up and let me know. R2 Swift out.